The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Seattle, mirroring the storm raging inside me. Bennett, a 43-year-old architect, sat staring at the divorce papers, the ink still glistening under the dim light of my desk lamp. Just 6 months ago, my life with my wife, Willow, had seemed idyllic. We lived in a beautiful Victorian house overlooking Puget Sound, both successful in our careers and deeply in love, or so I thought. Willow was a vibrant, ambitious lawyer, always impeccably dressed and radiating confidence. I had always admired her drive, her sharp wit, and her unwavering determination. We had been married for 15 years, and I honestly believed we had built a solid foundation of trust and mutual respect. How wrong I was. The first crack in our perfect facade appeared subtly, almost imperceptibly. Willow started working longer hours at the firm, often coming home late with vague excuses about demanding cases and difficult clients. I understood the pressures of her job, so I never questioned her, always having dinner waiting for her and a warm embrace ready. Then came the business trips. Willow had always traveled occasionally for work, but these trips became more frequent and longer. She would go to conferences in cities like Chicago, New York, and even London. I missed her when she was gone, but I trusted her implicitly. I would call her every night, and we would talk about our days, sharing the mundane details of our lives, or so I believed. The first inkling that something was amiss came during a particularly rough patch at work for me. I was struggling to meet a deadline for a new skyscraper design, working late nights and weekends. I remember one Saturday morning, I woke up feeling utterly exhausted and overwhelmed. Willow was supposed to be at a conference in Chicago, but I desperately needed her support. I decided to call her. Her phone rang and rang, eventually going to voicemail. I left a message telling her how much I missed her and how much I needed her. Hours passed and she didn't return my call. I tried again in the afternoon, and again her phone went straight to voicemail. A knot of unease began to tighten in my stomach. That evening, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I decided to check her flight itinerary online, something I had never done before. I found the confirmation email in her inbox and entered the details on the airline's website. The results that came back hit me like a punch to the gut. Her flight had arrived in Chicago on Thursday as scheduled, but there was no record of a return flight booked. She was supposed to be back on Saturday afternoon. My mind raced. Had there been a flight cancellation? Had she booked a different flight? I tried calling her again, but still no answer. The unease grew into a full-blown panic. I started searching online for hotels in Chicago, cross-referencing them with the conference she was supposedly attending. I found a list of hotels that were hosting conference attendees and started calling them, one by one, asking if Willow was a guest. After what seemed like an eternity, I finally got a hit. A receptionist at a luxury hotel downtown confirmed that a woman named Willow was indeed registered as a guest. Relief washed over me, quickly followed by a surge of anger. Why hadn't she called me back? Why hadn't she told me about the change in her travel plans? I booked a flight to Chicago for the next morning, determined to confront her and get some answers. The flight was excruciatingly long. I replayed every conversation, every moment, every memory of our time together, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed. By the time the plane landed, I was a nervous wreck. I took a taxi straight to the hotel and walked into the lobby, my heart pounding in my chest. I approached the front desk and asked to speak to Willow. The receptionist checked her computer and informed me that she was currently in a meeting but would be back shortly. I decided to wait in the lobby. I sat there for what felt like hours, watching people come and go, my anxiety building with each passing minute. Finally, I saw her. Willow walked into the lobby, her arm linked with a man I had never seen before. He was tall, handsome, and impeccably dressed, with a confident smile on his face. They were laughing and talking, their faces close together. I stood up, my legs trembling, and walked towards them. "Willow," I said, my voice barely a whisper. She turned around, her eyes widening in shock. "Bennett." "What are you doing here?" she stammered, her face paling. "I could ask you the same question," I replied, my voice rising. "Who is this?" Willow hesitated for a moment, then introduced the man as Lysander, a colleague from the firm. "We were just discussing a case," she said, her voice strained. "Really? I said, my eyes fixed on Lysander. Is that why you're holding hands? Willow's face flushed crimson. Bennett, this isn't what it looks like, she said, her voice pleading. Then what is it, Willow? I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. Tell me the truth. She looked at Lysander, then back at me, her eyes filled with tears. It's complicated, she said. No, Willow, it's not complicated, I said, my voice hardening. It's simple, you're having an affair. She didn't deny it. She just stood there, her head bowed, tears streaming down her face. Lysander stepped forward, his face hardening. Look, Bennett, he said, this is between Willow and me. You need to leave. This is between my wife and you. I retorted, my anger reaching a boiling point. You're sleeping with my wife. How dare you? A heated argument ensued, drawing the attention of the hotel staff and other guests. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and walked away, leaving Willow and Lysander standing there in the lobby, their faces etched with guilt and shame. The flight back to Seattle was a blur. I felt numb, hollowed out. The woman I had loved and trusted for 15 years had betrayed me in the worst possible way. I couldn't understand why. What had I done to deserve this? When I got back to our house, I packed a bag and left. I couldn't bear to stay there, surrounded by the memories of our life together. I moved into a small apartment downtown, a temporary refuge from the storm raging inside me. In the days and weeks that followed, I learned the full extent of Willow's betrayal. Her affair with Lysander had been going on for months, possibly even years. They had been traveling together, spending weekends at luxury resorts, and exchanging intimate emails and text messages. She had lied to me, manipulated me, and deceived me in every possible way. I confronted her with the evidence, and she finally admitted everything. She claimed that she had been unhappy for a long time, that she felt trapped in our marriage, that she needed something more. But her excuses rang hollow. I couldn't understand how she could have been so cold, so calculating, so cruel. I filed for divorce, and the proceedings were bitter and acrimonious. Willow fought me every step of the way, trying to take as much as she could. She claimed that I was controlling and emotionally abusive, accusations that were completely baseless. I had always supported her, encouraged her, and loved her unconditionally. As I sat in my apartment in Seattle, staring at the divorce papers, I felt a profound sense of loss and betrayal. The woman I had loved was gone, replaced by a stranger who had torn my life apart. I didn't know how I would ever trust anyone again, but amidst the pain and anger I also felt a flicker of hope. I knew that I couldn't let Willow's betrayal define me. I had to move on, to rebuild my life, to find happiness again. It wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to try. One evening, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. Hesitantly, I answered it. It was a woman named Gwyneth. Hello, Bennett, she said, her voice tentative. Yes, this is Bennett, I replied, my heart pounding in my chest. My name is Gwyneth, she said. I was married to Lysander. My blood ran cold. What do you want? I asked, my voice hardening. I wanted to apologize, she said. For what Lysander did to you, for what he did to both of us. I was silent for a moment, trying to process her words. You knew? I asked. Yes, she said. I found out about the affair a few months ago. It was devastating. We talked for a long time that night, sharing our stories of betrayal and heartbreak. I learned that Lysander was a serial cheater, that he had a long history of infidelity and deceit. Gwyneth had been just as blindsided as I had been. In the weeks and months that followed, Gwyneth and I became close friends. We supported each other through the difficult process of healing and rebuilding our lives. We discovered that we had a lot in common, including a shared love of art, music, and literature. One day, Gwyneth called me and asked if I would like to go to a concert with her. I hesitated for a moment, then said yes. We had a wonderful time that night, laughing, talking, and enjoying the music. As I looked at Gwyneth, I realized that I was starting to feel something for her, something more than just friendship. I knew that it was too soon to think about a serious relationship, but I couldn't deny the connection that we shared. We had both been through so much, and we understood each other in a way that no one else could. Over time, our friendship blossomed into love. We took things slowly, cautiously, but our feelings for each other grew stronger with each passing day. We found solace and comfort in each other's arms, a refuge from the pain and betrayal of the past. 1 year after my divorce from Willow, I asked Gwyneth to marry me. She said yes, and we were married in a small, intimate ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. I often think about Willow and Lysander and wonder what became of them. I heard through mutual acquaintances that their relationship didn't last long. Lysander moved on to another woman and Willow was left alone, facing the consequences of her actions. I don't hate Willow. I pity her. She made a terrible mistake, one that cost her everything. I hope that one day she will find happiness, but I know that it will never be with me. As for me, I have found happiness again with a woman who loves me for who I am, who trusts me, and who would never betray me. I have learned that even after the most devastating betrayal, it is possible to heal, to move on, and to find love again. The rain outside has stopped, and a sliver of sun pierces through the clouds, illuminating my apartment. I smile, knowing that even after the darkest storms, there is always hope for a brighter tomorrow.